Hello everyone, I'm Antom64.
And I'm MBM.
And welcome to the HellfireComms playthrough of Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. The multiverse as a concept is hot in media right now, so we figured we'd jump on the bandwagon and play what is essentially the golden route of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. To say any more would be to give spoilers away, but if you think you know how the Calamity played out, let's just say things might be playing out a touch differently here. Mexi, have you played this game or just looked up plot and such online?
I really only looked up the plot and stuff, unfortunately. The whole Dynasty Warrior genre, it's a pretty great and satisfying genre. Hasn't really gotten its hooks in me just yet. I've mostly just, watched streams of people playing the original Hyrule Warriors. And then with this, I've seen footage here and there, and then seen gameplay here and there as well to at least get myself ready to watch it all for the playthrough. So
I appreciate that. Cool. Now, you mentioned Dynasty Warriors. That is a Muso series. Muso itself is essentially, I guess you could describe it as 1 versus 1,000. Any game where you're against a huge horde of enemies who don't all have the most sophisticated AI, so you can cut through them mostly. That's a Muso. And you have stuff from Carmen Rider to God, I wish there was a Mario Muso. That'd be amazing.
That would be, but it's a pretty versatile just game genre, because I know there's a One Piece one as well, so they've crossed this whole genre into really neat, different properties. So I like just how well it fits together with the Zelda formula, especially in this game, because they really try to tweak a lot of not just the Muso tropes and the gameplay in there, but they really try to incorporate a lot of gameplay, at least design ideas from the original Breath of the Wild. And
yeah.
So I think it's a really nice just mashup of the two concepts, the two ideas.
It's pretty crazy because the last time a team outside of Nintendo would work on canon titles in the Zelda franchise would be Capcom with the two Oracle games, Seasons and Ages, and also the Minish Cap. So, this sort of thing don't roll around every day, and I'm happy to say that just like the other games, this delivered on the quality front.
I'm noticing a lack of you mentioning another outer developed Zelda games that were amazing. I mean, Philips making the classic Wanda Gamelon and the other one. Come on, they're all good. All Zelda games are good. Everyone is just mean.
I'm starting to be glad that Tanner and Reggie died in this timeline. They don't have to hear you besmirch Nintendo's good name with the whole Philips thing. Blast us into nothing, Guardian. I don't wish to hear of Philips no more. There he goes. Just a little egg fella jumping through time.
Yeah, our new character coming in with this whole game, with the whole twist of basically this game being, like you said, Zelda the multiverse, or I'd say Zelda if, kind of like how a lot of series will just make a spin-off of what if, and what if it was a little different. I like the take on this is that we're using a time-traveling Egbert character. He's so adorable, he's so cute, and the fact that he uses a warp song to just travel through time to most likely another timeline is kind of the way I look at this game.
Yeah.
And then starts off the shenanigans that we see that take place in this game.
Yeah, just to remove any doubt, this game is canon unto itself. It does not change the original Breath of the Wild and how that Age of Calamity played out. It's just a bit of fun, and I know a lot of people were a little bit salty. They felt it was kind of a bait and switch to have a time travel thing, and obviously not a bad end. It's not really a spoiler. I've already described it as the golden route of the Calamity. But I think when you're making a video game, you can either have the Crisis Core route, where you end on a downer note, or you can have a fun Muso title that doesn't ruin the original feel of the game it's spinning off. And I feel like they went with the correct thing here.
Listen well.
Look, I cried too when I played the end of Crisis Core, but I'm sorry, but not every game can end the Crisis Core way. It would get old after a while, but yeah, I'm really glad that, I'm really glad that they're going with a timeline split idea for this, because it's not even the first time that the Zelda timeline has had a nice, good timeline split. So it's very within Zelda's identity of what Age of Calamity gives you here.
Yeah.
In terms of it, like, especially when you look at like characterization for some of especially the champions, I feel like it contributes to Breath of the Wild as opposed to being diminished or being separate.
Yeah, for sure, because, you know, I like the champions a hell of a lot. They didn't really get too much focus in Breath of the Wild. Like, you can read their diaries and whatnot, but that's still only a smidgen. But here, they are thankfully fleshed out with their own movesets and levels and whatnot. And, yeah, there is a point where the timeline split can basically be seen. And up until that point, it's basically all canon to Breath of the Wild, so it's all good. Right, here we go. A big change from the original Hyrule Warriors is that whereas that used a very standard level design for Musos, like forts around the field, and you know, you go around, and it's not like super organic feeling. This is trying to be more faithful to Breath of the Wild's like overworld. So as you can see, a lot more wide open like fields, and there's still towns and, you know, forts to capture and whatnot, but they feel organically integrated into the level design itself, as opposed to just like big old squares that you capture.
Right.
You can really tell that the team that made this game were all big fans of the first game. Just the fact that they're trying to incorporate, you know, the map design, the idea of, you know, a big map full of treasure and full of secrets for you to discover, you know, a very Zelda idea, and putting it together with Muso, with that genre, you know, the dashing to, like you said, another fort to defeat a bunch of enemies to defend it or reclaim it, that, you know, it mixes those two speed dynamics together pretty well. Like, it's fun to just go find a chest in the middle of nowhere, but at the same time hurrying up so that you can swing your sword and take down 500 moblins.
Shazam! So that was a special attack. Your bread and butter of Muso is your light and heavy attacks, and when you build up enough power, you can use a special. There's combos you can unlock the more your characters evolve and whatnot, and since this is Zelda, we will be collecting items here and there. Some of these are used to fulfill requests, some of them are used to create food, which you can make special dishes with when you have the appropriate recipe. But in the meantime, we're just going to have to slay some bitches and collect what we can. We're at a very low level right now.
It's a basic game, but it's still a fun game. I'm glad that Age of Calamity isn't one of those games where, you know, all the fun moves are at the end of the game only. Like, even your beginning starting combo is very fun, very satisfying.
Right.
The fact that even his starting special move is a really cool one, because that was the gateway for me for these games, was you know, different compilations of all the characters' finishing moves and just watching these. I think it's funny that with Link, his special moves usually just involve him using a blade beam, sword laser, but they're super satisfying watching all the different special moves that the different characters can perform.
Oh, for sure, though.
The good stuff, as it were.
Do you have a favorite Muso that you've played in the past?
I haven't played any of them. That's the thing. Like, it probably at some point I need to just play the first Dynasty, or not Dynasty, the first Hyrule Warriors. Probably there's like a definitive edition for that one, isn't there? That has all of the things, right?
Yeah, it's on Switch, mate. Should you want it?
Oh man. Because I remember for a while there, like, they were the Smash Brother reveals that Nintendo was relying on for a while. Because I was watching, you know, during the directs when they were like, "Oh hey, more characters for Hyrule Warriors," and they had really cool choices like the King and Tetra's in it and stuff too. So they're super clever with how they interpret the Zelda characters to give them these flashy movesets. I think that's always one of the cool things about the whole Muso crossover into other properties.
Yeah, they just fit in perfectly. These are established characters, they have established, like, abilities, and they're just translated very well. Now, those of you savvy to media tropes out there will notice that a little butterfly landed on the robot's head. Obviously, butterfly effect. The flapping of a butterfly's wings can change, like, the timeline in an instant. You gotta watch out for those.
Yeah. I mean, you have the book theme, but I guess since we're here, we might as well just also make the Persona reference. Anytime you see a butterfly, you know it's Philemon, and you know that it's an inter-god battle of bullshit over the very soul of humanity.
Indeed, mate, indeed. You want to be careful, because if you're not, you may end up balking a timeline, and then, you know, the next time the camera pans to Link, he's played by Ashton Kutcher.
I actually really love that movie. I love Ashton Kutcher's butterfly effect. Like, the whole scene where he stabs his hands as a kid, like, still is like, ooh. It kind of turns my stomach a bit. It's super cheesy. I wouldn't say it's like, it's not cinematography, but like, it's a fun movie every once in a while to just watch.
Yeah, for sure. I feel the same way about artificial intelligence, AI.
Yeah, just, you know, a sci-fi movie that, you know, does it okay. It's not the best, but it's just still fun to watch.
Little leg fella.
Like this guy.
Yeah. Alright, so we got Impa here. You got a favourite Impa in the franchise, mate?
I mean, this one's high on the tier list.
Oh, yeah.
Probably the best one up there. It would be either that or, just because I've been playing a lot of it recently, maybe Skyward Sword Impa. Basically a character made entirely of devotion, and probably the best out there as well. I don't know, you have some that are pretty memorable. You have the one from like the Oracle games.
Oh yeah, the big mummy matron kind of thing.
Yeah, they have a whole scene where right at the beginning of Ages, she gets possessed by Varid, and Link helps the bad guy. Like, I thought that was one of the funnest moments in a Zelda game.
I mean, obviously you have Ocarina of Time as well, and that's kind of fucking Skyward Sword Impa. I always forget about her.
Exactly, because you almost get a two-for character there. Like, you get her younger form and her spoiler form.
Spoiler form, kind of obvious, but you know, Zelda isn't really known for its big old deep storytelling, apart from like Breath of the Wild and one, honestly.
That's about as subtle as it gets, is, you know, finding a journal where here are my emotions. I was feeling... Yeah, I love finding the King's Journal at the end of the original Breath of the Wild, but usually, no, it's not as bad as, like, an Ace Attorney name, where you know what the fuck's going on, but, well, the games are usually not on the subtle side. They usually try to make sure that the big messages get across loud and clearly.
Haha. Obviously, you can use the environment to your advantage here. There are apples to refill your apple meter. There are enemies that will throw projectiles at you, and I believe if you press... Yeah, there we go. That is L2 on my 8-bit controller. You can block everything. Bada bing. And now I counter with this.
You done goofed, guys.
Love chopping some bokoblins, me. You know, love me princess, love me Hyrule, 8 bokoblins, simple as.
Well, have I got the game series for you?
Oh.
And there's more than 2.
Oh, hang on. They were just annoying me. They're not even part of the battle.
I love how they interpreted and brought back all of the rune abilities. Just how fun they are to use.
Now, when you're in the air, not to, you know, put down what you were saying there, you know, the rune abilities are very helpful in combat. You can get your paraglider going, you can fly about, or glide about. Whoa, Egg Dude was going crazy there for a second.
A gift from the goddesses.
Anyway, yes, you can glide basically into an aerial combo, essentially.
They really were just trying to bring every aspect of Link's moveset from Breath of the Wild over into just the whole format. I think that's so fun and so cool.
Ah, now we can play as Impa. So you get multiple characters during levels. Some you're locked into. You will occasionally get a chance to like switch to a character of your choice, you know, when you're preparing your loadout pre-mission. But let's go ahead and Link, you can go here, and we will go ahead and change to Impa here. Now, each character has a different ability on what is essentially their R2 button. So, Impa's here is she can create seals which you can absorb, and the more seals you absorb, the more power you get, essentially. That's how I always figured it, anyway.
Then you start performing insane jutsu. She has her shadow clones, and it just becomes a whole mess of explosions. It's like I said, it's why I really dig this implement. She's probably my favorite in the franchise because her character design was already fantastic. I'm just glad that they also gave her one of the funnest movesets.
Yeah, she's all about the ninjutsu and, you know, the knives and the explosions and the gliding, yeah.
She can make a whole storm of knives, and I really love her interpretation of the hang glider, how it is the whole ninja parachute there.
Yeah. I think there's a familiar place around here, if I've gotten my geography correct. Yes. I see.
I like that we get to see more architecture in Hyrule, just because a lot of the stuff in the Great Field in the original game were already just a bunch of ruins, or the buildings were already halfway torn down. So it's kind of cool that we can be in the field and see whole little villages still standing.
I was trying to look for Lon Lon Ranch, but I imagine we'll come across it eventually. Aerial combo, baby! Sign me up for Evo, because I am fucking ready.
The juggles, the insanity. Be sure that anyone you knock out doesn't make the run back and just ruin your entire grand finals moment.
Yeah. You ever witnessed a salty run back in the skin, mate, in the flesh?
No, I haven't been watching too many fighting games either, so who knows?
The Zarfos, as annoying as ever, you know them from Breath of the Wild, I won't worry about it. I'll do it on my fucking self then, Link, don't worry.
There we go. I like how she also has her own variation on the bombs as well. She's not using the ruin bombs, but her own homemade Sheikah bombs.
Every character basically has their own version of, like, the runes and the Sheikah slate and whatnot, which is pretty cool. Some are honestly more useful than others, though. I find Link to be a very all-around character. He's kind of like the Mario of Zelda, if you think about it.
I think it's also nice. It gives a lot more variety to the characters, you know. One character having better, maybe rune attacks versus someone whose basic attacks are probably the better choice to go.
Alrighty, I guess Link was just hanging out in that bush for no reason then. Yes, give me all your apples, Flint, and Hyrule base. Oh, there it is.
He was distracted by his egg friend. He was just sitting in the corner petting him the whole time.
Recognize these little fences and whatnot?
Oh, hey.
Good old Lon Lon Ranch. Nut boy.
Oh yeah, they brought this back as well. How would you compare the scope of the quest as opposed to, you know, how many are impossible to find in Breath of the Wild?
I would say it's much lesser of a scale just because, you know, it's not trying to be a big old open world game, it's level based. But you know, they're hidden and they will help you, you know, solve more tasks, complete more quests and whatnot. We'll get into quests once we're done with this level here, don't you worry.
Game kind of opens up in small phases here.
Very much so, mate. Am I going the right way? That is the menu, yes, good. Yeah. I sense another fort that must be unforted.
So that's always the thing that kind of, I feel, confuses me, at least with the genre, is the directing other characters around. Because it's meant to be, like, not hardcore simulation, but like a war simulator. Like, you have your own troops, you have your own forces that you can send in multiple directions. But I feel I get so distracted by the 1v100 combat that I forget that, oh shoot, I should be telling these other characters to do stuff as well.
Yeah, it happens when you have a bunch of variables. I mean, God knows you've dabbled in Final Fantasy, so you should know all about this kind of thing, but it can be confusing in the moment.
That's true. I mean, I'll never figure out gambits, but, you know, turn-based combat, that I feel it's the good stuff. I'm not bored with it yet.
There he is. Oh! Got him. Just in time as well.
Ooh. That was very Breath of the Wild-y, just pulling out the Cryonis at the last second to save your butt.
Now, our final goal in this particular level is to take out the moblins. That's why I sent Impa down there ahead of us. But you know, she's not going to die right away. I don't think it's that much like Hyrule Warriors. So we can take a moment just to defeat this fire wizrobe here, and we can gain some firepower of our own.
Oh, nice. The alchemy system at play, even in this game.
Oh yeah, for more of that, watch the HellfireComms playthrough of Breath of the Wild, featuring the full cast, including 2 fuckers who died in this timeline.
See, what had happened was a time portal opened up right by us, and I saw just the primus opportunity to kick them right in and send them off to the far reaches of time.
Bit aside, Tana is very busy getting ready to move to another country for a job, and Richie is training his new puppy, essentially, so he's unavailable right now.
Both of them are doing better things than this.
Oh no.
It's okay. I'm still here to talk about video games on the internet.
I appreciate it, man. We haven't done a playthrough just the 2 of us in a while, actually, so very nostalgic, so it is.
It's a little bittersweet. Kind of like the 4-man crew.
Shazam. It's alright, Emperor, I'll be with you in a second here.
You can handle the whole job, right? Like, that's the true Legend of Zelda, is we find out that Impa did all the work the whole time.
Yeah, the Legend of Zelda. Don't talk about the parts where the hero pawned everything onto the Sheikah. Ah.
He was very busy petting his egg pet.
Oh, I was trying to get the Flurry Rush. I've never been good at that, whether in this or in the actual Breath of the Wild, as you probably saw during the playthrough.
I mean, my usual strategy for moblins in the original game was just get so close to their knees that everything they do is useless until I slowly murder them by 1,000 stabs to the knee.
Yeah. For some reason, they just never think to stab down. I don't know why. It just happens. Oh my god, there's 2 of them here at the same time.
It's the Dragoon's dilemma. Have long spear, need to do short range attack.
Now, I mentioned Impa's little R2 thing. Oh, shit. But Link's is the bow and arrow, which can be used to stun people very effectively. I like it a lot.
It's about as satisfying as doing like a time slowed down, perfectly aimed ancient arrow fire. Like, those were the best moments of Breath of the Wild, so I'm glad that it's all very well translated into Link's moveset.
Alright, I'll let you finish off, Link. You are the hero of Hyrule, after all.
The true Legend of Zelda.
And don't you worry, dear viewers, we will get to play as Zelda. She is not left out in this Muso brawl for all.
Oh snap, a Zelda game where we play as Zelda? I mean, I know that joke's not as funny because now they've done it a bunch of times, but yeah. Sometimes the classics like Zelda is the girl, you know, some of those just never lose their cringy edge.
Not really, no, man. Hand on heart, do you think Zelda is going to be playable in Breath of the Wild 2?
I don't think so. There might be multiple player characters, but I think maybe multiple Links, but I don't. They usually don't use her like as the playable character in the main game, so we'll have to see.
There has been a theory going around, and if you were paying attention to the mural at the beginning, you may be able to suss out what I'm talking about here, that there's going to be 2 Links in Breath of the Wild 2. One in the present, and one in the distant past. I'm talking like 10,000 years before Breath of the Wild.
I hate to say it.
See, I could definitely see something like that working. Just kind of, because a lot of what Breath of the Wild 2 gives off gives me Majora's Mask vibes.
Yep.
And Majora's Mask having the transformable mask, like I know it's one character, but it felt like multiple characters. So I think something like multiple links across timelines, even if it's not intended to be a type of reference, my heart at least will take it as a weird Majora's Mask reference, because it's definitely giving off spooky ooky vibes, and I love when a Zelda game gives off spooky vibes.
For sure, mate. Also, there was a lot of, like, time inference in that trailer. And also, I'm not sure, like, we ever saw that Link in green from the front. Like, we never saw his face, but we saw this Link with a Buster Cannon, which is pretty rad.
Yes, he's going full Barrett Wallace and is just deciding, weapon on arm? Might as well.
Might as well.
Your Highness.
This thing's saying it's Kawaii's foot, Princess.
Look at these great selfies we took.
Oh, bless.